There was a polar bear, a family of them, sitting around the dinner table, and the youngest polar bear, chewing away on the fine meal that his mother had prepared, asked the question that was on his mind for quite some time. "Mom," he cried. They all turned his way. "Mom, are you certain we are in fact polar bears?" A few chuckles around the table followed, and of course his mother, with a straight face, said, "Yes, dear. Bless you, we're polar bears." Later that evening, the young polar bear, Timmy, might have been his name, went to his brother, Lawrence. "Lawrence, hey." "Thanks. Listen, are you sure we're polar bears?" Larry, smartass that he is, said, "Go fuck yourself. N'est-ce pas?" Timmy wandered off, found his father in the garage constructing a hat. "Dad," he cried. "Dad, excuse me, Dad. Dad, are you sure we're polar bears?" His father turned on the young boy and said, "Dear God, what's gotten into you? It's enough already. Yes, we're polar bears. We've always been polar bears. You come from a long line of polar bears. You are, in fact, a member of a proud pride of polar bears." Timmy looked up at his dad, a small tear rolling down his cheek, his furry cheek, and said, "Sorry to bother you." He walked away. He found his grandfather, Gregory, sitting in the den, reading a book. Ironically, about the history of polar bears. The timing was perfect for young Timothy as he walked up to his granddad and said, "Grandpa, are you looking it up? Are you making sure? Do we fit in? Are we, in fact, polar bears?" His grandfather turned on him, sweet old bear, glasses at the end of his nose, and said, "Timmy, you concern me. Why would you ask this question of all of us now, over and over again? Been here reading about the family tree. I've got to ask, why? Why? Why do you keep asking if we're polar bears?" Timmy gathered the strength and answered the question the wise old bear had asked. "Well, Grandpa, it's because I'm freezing my balls off." Welcome back to each and every one of you. Happy Sunday to you. It is, in fact, the 12th of September when we are indeed doing this live. We've been off for a little bit. We pre-taped last Sunday's show, so we've been away from the studio here for a couple of weeks. Hope you had a lovely Labor Day. How was your Labor Day? Did you relax? I'm not sure what the protocol is to do on Labor Day. You're supposed to just not labor? What about all the children born? I was up in the town I was raised, San Jose, California, at the lovely Improv, performing at that fine theater, which I'm proud to say is a historical landmark. Al Jolson performed on that very stage back in the 20s. It was a vaudeville room that they've recently restored, and I loved this little theater. So I had a great time visiting family and friends. I want to thank one very important person from this visit. I just met him on the trip. Matthew Miller, DDS. That's right. A crown came flying out of my face. Said crown needed to be re-cemented. I found, thanks to my other dear friend, Charles Wolf Leiter, because that's a name, a fantastic dentist on the spot, cemented me right up together, and I wanted to thank Matthew Miller, DDS, for doing some incredible work. I'm not sure why you had to put me under. Still feels a little strange. And my sphincter will recover at some point, I'm sure. But thank you, Matthew Miller. One of our very own, Jamal, otherwise known as Jamie, celebrated Labor Day perhaps the best damn way, which is to wait till the following day and then go to the less crowded Disneyland. Is that how it shook down for you?
Oh, I went on Thursday.
Oh, I'm sorry. I need to keep track and read the bulletin.
Well, I worked on Tuesday. I have another show.
Oh, what show is that?
This Week in Mad Men.
This Week in Mad Men?
Yeah.
You mean the new and noteworthy on iTunes?
Yes.
This Week in Mad Men?
So we had to film that on Tuesday.
You had it delayed because of the Monday holiday.
Yes.
Right. I just remember the week after Labor Day you were saying is one of the single best times to go through the land of Disney.
Yes, because it's that weird in-between time where it's like summer's over and they're putting up the Halloween overlay on a lot of attractions. Yeah, it's a good time to go.
So it was a fine time. What would you say was maybe one highlight?
Watching Corey Levin eat a turkey leg.
Haha.
That's my favorite.
It is an Epicurean delight that's bigger than you had at the outset.
It was delicious.
Yeah.
I thought it was delicious.
All right. I always think those things are fake, and now it's nice to know that they actually are real and you can eat them. Sammy?
Hey, Capo.
How was your weekend off?
It was wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. I went to my dear friend's wedding.
Did you?
I did. But that's not what I want to talk about.
What?
It's a beautiful service.
Yeah, to hell with your friends.
To hell with my friends.
I understand.
Two things.
What's that, a bus? Let's throw them under.
Two things. Mm-hmm. One, my number one fan in the world, Sabrina, is celebrating her birthday today, so happy birthday, Sabrina. And two, for those people who enjoy laughing at things on the internets,
yes,
I am in a fantastic new web series called Held Up, which stars the Sklar brothers, Randy and Jason. And Kevin, you have been nice enough to allow me to run this little minute and a half trailer for the show, so that the people can enjoy it and know what it is about. Right? I can do that now, right?
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Roll the trailer.
Too much to ask for something crazy to happen for once.
Nobody move! Everybody down! Everybody down! Nobody move!
Let's go! 30 seconds.
That's it, we're out.
All right, nobody move. This is a stick-up. Obviously, it's a stick-up.
Well, you paused.
I paused because suddenly there's a gun in my face.
Here.
Two guns.
Best day ever.
You are completely surrounded.
Wait, no. We're gonna have to work together if we want to get out of this thing with the money.
We are prepared to hear your list of demands.
What we need are weapons and we need vehicles. And if I don't get them, I'm gonna shoot a hostage every 10 minutes.
I don't think we should be killing people for no reason, you know? I mean, we're not Phil Spector.
What's the deal here? Are you gonna kill us or what?
You're asking these guys? They don't know anything. This guy's got dish gloves on, and this guy looks like a gay Peter Pan.
Whoa, Peter Pan was gay.
Stop, or I'm gonna shoot someone in the head. Do you hear me?
I'm the guy with information. I'm the guy who points out the guy who doesn't know he's the guy yet. I'm talking about a guy whose time has come to finally step up and prove himself in life. I'm talking about a guy who has a lot to gain from winning a fight like this. I'm talking about a guy with a lot of heart and unconventional good looks.
You need to do it for her, for us, for America.
I cry a lot, and my nose bleeds. Hope you're ready to get your shoes ruined, bitch.
Brilliant. There's episodes up now. Go check it out on Crackle.
Held Up. It's already up and running on the Crackle.
There's like 6 or 7 episodes already up.
Out of how many?
Out of 16?
Why so many?
Really,
that's too much.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
Sklar Brothers, we love him. We've had him on this very show. John Doerr, what's his story? And I haven't seen him before.
Canadian comedian.
Is he in
hilarious.
fact the lead of the thing? It looks like he's the lead.
He is the lead.
Who knows who he is? Why is he the lead?
I think you'll have to watch the show and be informed.
So it's really, and introducing a Canadian.
Well, he's done some stuff, but he's...
See, this bothers me when the Canadians come across the border and take our jobs. Wait,
it's
that's
the
not
Canadians
right at all. That's not right at all. I love Canada.
Yeah.
Because it's 1978. All right. Thank you, Sammy, and good luck with Held Up.
Thank you, sir.
We will show more of that some other time. Oh, I know. Forgive me. It has something to do with me. There was big announcements on the Twitter that this crazy DVD dropped. It was a stand-up comedy special, the first hour-long special I've done in quite a long time on the Showtime network. I want to thank them very much for the space that they showed the show on for 5 weeks. That was very nice of them. But this DVD has lots of elements that were not in the special. It's not important why they weren't in the special. Decisions were made by Showtime. And anyways, this is just dropped on your Amazon and your iTunes and all these other places. And I've been tweeting and trying to give copies of this DVD away. 6 winners were actually selected. If you were not selected, I apologize. I'll give 4 to 6 more away next week, live on the show, so tune in then. Fred Willard, I want to say, next
why not?
Sunday, I think of the 19th, it's Freddie Willard.
I believe you're right.
Very excited about that.
I don't work here. I don't know.
Yeah, thanks. First winner, it would be Maggie Farley. Congratulations. We got that one off the Facebook. Jason Viglione, is that right? Viglione? Sure, why not? At JVig. S.E. Olson is at Video Vault, a regular viewer of the show. At Kim Giordano. At Karen Lovelace. That one was picked up today, I remember. At Keith Howell. And congratulations to those winners. To some of you, these have already been shipped out because we gathered them while we were off for the Labor Day. In fact, one of you sent us a nice photo today because you got it in the mail already. Let's put up that photo. Look at that. I signed it. Wow. I don't remember that. Incredible what you do when you're drunk. But he got that. The Viglig, at Viglig, I think, was the one that sent that. And he's off base serving our fine military. So we're sending copies to him and his mates as well. I got it. And now we take you to one of my new favorite portions of the show called Ask Kevin, where I get a chance to answer some of your questions, because I really do care what you... think. Ask Kevin, this one from Top Notch Awesome. What? We're reading a question from someone who goes by the moniker Top Notch Awesome?
It's Negrin.
Oh, that's right, Negrin. Hey, Kevin, got a question for you. I've been watching for a few months now, and I thought, hey, let's get in on this. Really? You put that thought in quotes? So this is me getting in on this, and then repeated it. Hey, Kevin, I've recently finished my first draft of my first screenplay and found the whole process to be really good for me.
See, it's Negrin.
It is. You've mentioned in the past that when you read it, it was nirvana. When you write, it is nirvana. And I was wondering if you write as a means to zen out and get something off your chest, or is it just a happy accident of the creative process? Also, where do you get so many fine hats? On the hats front, none of your goddamn business. And in terms of writing, yes, we're going to talk to my guest today, too, who wrote and directed a fine film. For me, the process about writing is indeed creating a world and characters and people and lives and things from thin air, from your imagination, limited by only that. And I do find that process to be nirvana, not hell. Also, I don't write an outline or put 3x5 cards on a board. I begin the process, and I do not stop thinking that the first draft is a skeleton that I will rewrite till the end of time. So just throw up onto the used to be the page, and now it's not. So yes, nirvana, indeed, and good luck to you, sir. I hope that first effort of yours ends up on the big screen or whatever screen you'd like. Let's try the small one. Music at the end of your recent special by Space Girl with 3 R's. Loved Littlest Suspects. Did you? Thank you. I was wondering about the song the special ends with. What was that song? Who was that band? Space Girl. The answer, of course, Common Rotation. Some of the folk from that band, actually, the Adam Bush, for example, being one of the two leads, I guess, was a guest on this show in the past with the Drones movie. So his band, Common Rotation.
Jordan was a guest too.
And Jordan popped in as well, yeah. That's right. Thank you, Jamie. You're 100%. I love it when you chime in with information that I forget. I do. Anyways, the song's called True Hollywood Romance. And they were kind enough to loan us that song. Let's see what we paid them. That's right. Nothing. So thank you for that question. Last question, buffering bit and a Yinzer question from Josh Patton. Kevin and the gang, I really enjoy the show, and please give Jamie a big Yinzer shout out from me. In an earlier show, you've mentioned traveling to Pittsburgh, and I was wondering if you have ever attempted to imitate the unique accent of that region, given your proclivity for impression. I imagine you could do it justice. I don't care what everyone else says, I enjoy the buffering gag every time at the beginning. Best, Joshua Payton. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed the buffering gag. And my Yinzer is not so great, but I do Jamie's dad, and technically, although not a Yinzer, he is from them parts. Jim Fox. How many times I got to tell you, you can't run that engine hot, you'll kill it. The Yinzer is more, you's going down to the park there. That's kind of a little bit, that's bad.
That's more Chicago. We need Jason Antoon.
We need Jason, yeah.
He does the best.
Yin's going down to, I've heard him say 1,000,000 times. So I know that part is, I'm just doing him.
Just drop your L's.
Yeah, drop your L's would be, well, you're not a Yinzer either. What do you know? Yinzer, is that really just the, forgive me if I'm wrong for choosing these words, the poor white trash
yeah, it's like the
sector?
blue collar, it's like the
blue collar. See, I knew I
workers.
was wrong. Damn it, poor white trash. Offensive, blue white collar, in support of. What an asshole. The blue white collar is my favorite. Those are my favorite criminals, by the way. If you ever get thrown in the joint, seek out the blue white collars. Because they're down to earth and yet they're business.
Is it like a wealthy Smurf?
Yes, wealthy Smurf.
Blue
All right. Let's wrap up the Ask Kevin, and thank you for that, and thank you for you and yours. A fine sponsor of the show, of course, is themosey.com. Let's give a shout out to them, please. As always, please remember, with Mosey, you can be sure your digital life will always be there when you need it. Online backup service with more than 1 million customers, backing up more than 25 petabytes of information. Back up your critical data, protect your personal files. 2 offerings, one for your home use, stuff like your photos, your videos, your musics. Other for business, which includes administrative features and 24-hour customer support. Set it once and then never think about it again. Unlimited online backup plans start at only $4.95 a month. How about this? Enter promo code KEVIN at checkout to receive 50% off your initial purchase. Mosey.com. We love their support of this show and thank them. In fact, we started a contest and we're giving away 1-year subscription. Is it a subscription? 1-year supply? The contest winner for themosey.com 1 year of their, what is it? What do they get exactly in the 1 year? Is it 60? 60 100 gigabytes for a year. 100 gigabytes for a year. Dan Hines. No, not Dan Hines. Not Dan Hines? No? Wow, that's from last week? Why is Dan Hines in there? At Big Tid. At BIGTID. At Big Tid. I just hear Dr. Chen on the side go, not Dan Hines. I know it's in the teleprompter, you just read it, but not Dan Hines. Hey, Dan. Just fucking with you, man. We got nothing for you. Zippo. You know what, Dan?
He's got big tits.
But you do have big tits. Dan, I feel I'm way off screen right now, Dan, but I'm getting something for you. Because I said Dan Hines, if you are contactable, if we have any idea who Dan Hines actually is, check this out. It's really cool. Got you good, Danny! Yeah. Anyways, at Big Tit is 100 gigabyte account on Mosey.com. A $60 value, free just for caring. All right, thank you one and all. I've put off introducing my guests as long as possible. When I was sitting down to compile the dossier along with the help of our very own J-Mac here on our guest today, and in formulating the introduction, I started to think in terms of, we've had a few great character actors on the show. John Slattery not too long ago comes to mind, J.K. Simmons. And I've already spoken greatly about the art of the character actor and the undaunting and never-ending respect I have, not just dedicating my life to the participation of, but just from being a child and watching movies. And it was Leo Gorski Jr. and these guys allegedly on the sidelines of fame who caught my attention, and Strother Martin, and oh God, they're endless. And so many never really had a chance, the ones I'm calling out now, to say be the quote-unquote lead. And it's so unbelievably rare that to rise through the ranks, in the case of my guest today, of having an incredible career resume available for your viewing on the online, as a character actor for many, many years, and in fact nominated for awards for doing great work on one television show, and then to be presented with a turn in life and in career that meant going with that prospect, he would be, as they say, and as we've said on this show, #1 on the call sheet and take on all the responsibility of that, to be the leader of the pack. Recently awarded, not that these things matter, 3rd in a row Emmy victory, Best Actor in a Drama. We've done research and believe it's only happened once before. Bill Cosby pulled this off, as this miracle for I Spy back in the 60s, when they were just giving the stuff out like donuts. Nowadays, the field is much stronger and difficult. And so unbelievably proud that this just went down within the last couple of weeks, and we managed to land this great guest here today. Please welcome Bryan Cranston. Bryan, let's start with, since it's kind of hot off the press, if you don't mind. First of all, thank you very much for joining us today.
Well, it's my pleasure to be here today.
Okay.
Start off as a dancer, in New York. And
chorus boy. Weren't you a chorus boy?
Yeah, a chorus boy. I loved boys and girls at the time.
Yeah, he said that out loud, hasn't he?
They were attractive. Have you seen his new show on Broadway, by the way?
We went. The Behanding in Spokane.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was maybe one of the great, I love black comedy, so it may have been one of the great nights of theater of my life.
Really?
Yeah. Did you not?
I think it was the best non-musical I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I felt I was in 2 different plays.
Well,
I
you
felt
were.
he was in a completely different play than the other cast members, and it was like, where's this, And then Sam Rockwell, who's a terrific actor,
comes out and gives
a monologue, and I'm going, now it's a 3rd play. What is going on?
I think because of breaking the mold and breaking the rules, it might have worked for me instead of against me in terms of my enjoyment. But I could completely understand and respect why someone of the theater might be taken out of it, as it were.
It took me out a little bit, yeah. And I had seen some interviews by the writer and the director who said, he was the last person cast. We didn't expect to have a big star, in this role.
Wow, I did not read that because I assumed they wrote it for him.
You'd think, right?
Wow.
He said he was the last one cast, and of course we were great to have him, and it's been interesting and
it's always a nice
challenging. Wow. And some, on occasion, he'll say the words I wrote. On other occasions, he won't, and the director would say sometimes he'll do the blocking as we rehearsed, and sometimes it's like, and they kind of have to give over to his real genius. I mean, he is, the thing about him, he is always watchable. You cannot take your eyes off him. I mean, he's so fascinating to watch.
Yeah, and we hear that about people or things. You can't take your eyes off it. And sometimes it's a train wreck, and that's why you say that.
Yeah.
Perhaps in the case of Jersey Shore. I'm not pointing fingers.
I've never seen it.
But when it comes to a talent, to a specific individual, who has spent a career now, a lifetime, being that thing that you can't take your eyes off of. And we've heard all the stories of taking all the punctuation out of the paragraph and saying it how he chooses. But I'd not heard or read that he was doing his own rewrites and choreography.
Yeah.
That's got to be unnerving for the people involved. But I will tell you, watching it, there really was a sense of I guess because I'm drinking from his Kool-Aid, and I've signed up for everything. So to me, I almost felt like this may be and it was the first, so it may be the only time I see him on the boards. And so for that reason alone, damn the torpedoes, take me away, Calgon. And oh Christ, did he. So anyways.
3 references that nobody of your viewers are going to, Calgon, what's that?
I speak to my guest. I've done my research.
It doesn't even matter. Christopher Walken comes on and goes, I was born and raised in Spokane, Washington.
And you go, no, you weren't.
Like,
no, you weren't. Yeah.
I'm from the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
And, it's like.
Forget how they sound. Forget the cadence. This is how we speak in Spokane.
Spokane.
Yeah. Let's talk about nothing else.
Okay.
Let's talk, if you don't mind, I like to normally go back from whence we began, but in this case, because we are so hot off the press from this absurd moment of your life, as I can only imagine it is, to win the first Emmy, you've been nominated from your dossier 3 times from the Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah.
So you've already been through the, hey, it's great to be nominated.
Right.
And as a past nominee, I'm waving the flag. The great thing about being a nominee is, hey, look, if you win, it's like a lottery thing. You win for all the right or wrong reasons. The nomination thing, I was the best of the 5 of the year of every single human that was available.
Right.
And that's amazing.
Right.
That's truly, that you can't take that away from me.
Right.
Was what I remember about being nominated for anything. So all of that pressure and stuff, you're going to win, everybody in your circle. It happens once, and then it happens twice. And the second time, there's got to be some sort of expectation of everyone in your face. It's going to happen again, right?
Right.
And you're thinking, well, I've already got one.
Yeah.
Nothing to lose.
I've already peaked. It's now, I have mine, yeah.
So is there any way to enjoy the third? Because, oh my God.
Yeah. Well, you said it is how I feel about it. And as a fellow actor, it is rather absurd. To the public, to the civilian population out there, it's like, oh, it's fantastic and it's wonderful, and it is. But it's bizarre to go through that, especially when I've been working for 31 years, and all I really wanted to do was be a good working actor, make a living as an actor. If I can do that, that's my goal, that's my reward.
Yes.
The idea of getting 6 Emmy nominations and 3 wins, 3 in a row, and it is absurd. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to believe, and as we know, there's an ebb and flow in our business. There's never a straight ascend. It's a big roller coaster ride, and I'm just on this wave for some reason. I don't even know why. I was in the right place at the right time, and I'm on this wave, and it's going. You'd think that I would fall off, or it's keep. And I'll stay on it for as long as I can go, because I don't know how long it's going to go. At some point, absolutely, it's going to stop. And I have to be happy with what I've been able to achieve, and look back and then hand it off to someone else. And
it's the joy of being present while
absolutely.
it's happening.
Yeah, exactly.
And it takes, I think, many years doing this to really
appreciate that.
And
exactly
be present while it's happening. So that's the other great gift to me, standing back and looking at it all, of this wave that you're currently riding, is right place, right time. Yeah, I'm not going to accept that answer. Having earned your place in this particular sun, at this particular moment in your trajectory, that is your life and career, it's quite easy for those of us on the sidelines to root for you, to celebrate your victories in the job, the trophies aside. And then as a fan of the show, it's just ridiculous. So let's talk about a parallel that I recently stumbled across, that you've been aware of, I'm sure, for 3 years, which is, in a sense, there's a parallel between you and your character on the show, because where we've been served up a lovely smorgasbord of duality since the conception and execution of the pilot. You live half the year in New Mexico. Albuquerque?
I do, yes.
Yeah. Having shot there, I can say from my own personal experience, you are living a duality. As you, now again, I'm going to foolishly, I have clearly foolishly assumed that your entire family does not move to Albuquerque with you.
That's true.
They don't.
They don't.
This is what I based my parallel on.
Yeah.
So you leave your loving nest
Yeah.
half of the year and become this person, this character, which is all-consuming, especially when you're out of the nest and really able to get as absorbed as you want to in all that process is. So I would love first to talk about this duality that you have in fact lived for the last 3 years, because as an actor, when my agent calls and says, this is a really good part, the show shoots in Vancouver, are you okay with that? For the last many years, the answer has been, no, I'm not going to live there for 10 months.
Right.
Now you've got 13 episodes a year, so now it's only 6 months? Is that
6 months at a time,
Yeah. What has that been like? I am abjectly unaware.
Well, it's a challenge. You know, I'm married. We have a 17-year-old daughter and high school years, so it's been all through high school now. And but if you think back to the origins of thespians and actors, we've always been vagabonds. We've always been in the back of a wagon and open it up. Hey, step up, tell me, let's put on a show, and then you sort of have to go with that. I think I got spoiled for 7 years. Malcolm in the Middle was 2 miles from my house.
Boy, is that
the studio.
The greatest job ever.
4 miles on my car every day. That was it.
I'm a little ashamed of you for driving.
I know. Well, just that I knew I could walk. I never did, but knew, that's all I needed. And now this comes up, and I read the script without knowing where it shot. And it was brilliant.
Oh, boy.
It was just a brilliant
breathtaking
piece of work. It really was. And I handed it to my wife and I said, you need to read this. But before you do, know that it shoots in New Mexico. And this is after I had already met with Vince Gilligan, who's our showrunner, and who became my champion to get this role.
Creator of the show.
He created the show.
Right.
And I handed it to her and she read through it and then just went, shit. And kind of flopped it back on the bed because she knew it was.
You have no choice.
I have to do this.
Yeah.
I have to do this.
Yeah. I do love that she said shit.
Yeah, it was because she knew what it entailed, and I think partly that it helps because she is an actor as well. We met 25 years ago on a TV show, and so she gets it. And I think it would be much more difficult if you were married to someone who's like, wait a minute, you've been there for 12 hours, you should be home, and it's like, no, that's just the way it works. Yeah. And then you have long periods of unemployment, and then you just have to weather the storm. But
this is beyond making hay when the sun shines.
Yeah, it is.
This is an opportunity, as we've now seen from the success not only of the show, but for you personally. You could tell by reading that pilot script.
Yeah. Well, we all know, actors, we read these scripts for your audience. We read these scripts, and it's all about the writing.
Oh.
Award-winning performances are written, as Paul Newman said when he won his Oscar. They are written, and we know that. And as long as you have, and I've always followed this, once I got to the point where I was making a living as an actor and not having to do other jobs, because when we first start, you take anything.
Sure.
Right? But after you start making a living, I made a promise to myself to really only do things that have merit in the artistic front and not make a decision based on personal finances. In fact, when I work now, I don't even know what I'm making. I honestly don't know how much they're offering or what the deal is. It doesn't matter to me because I know the money will follow. And all I really need is to be able to make a living. So, and that's now past. So. My agents don't even tell me what the offer is. I make decisions purely on the scripts and who's involved. Yeah. And that's the way it should be.
It is the way it should be, and in fact, that is one of the great moments of success, as I know it.
Yeah.
That your decisions are made based on your personal taste and what you want to try to do.
I don't think you'll never. You know, there's that feeling when you first you're working on something that you really shouldn't have done, and your friends say,
why would you bring up Joanna Man?
Because.
Why would you do that?
Because I would say.
Tell me more.
So I would say, So, Kevin, what are you working on? And your first move, I'm just, it's apologetic. I'm just doing this.
Yeah, when I read the script, Will Smith was supposed to be in it. Yeah.
Yeah, and you have all this sense of remorse going through that, and I just don't want to feel that. So.
Yeah.
But now we work 12, 14 hours a day, especially on Breaking Bad, where I'm busy almost every scene, and I come home and I'm exhausted. I'm physically, emotionally, intellectually, just exhausted.
It's all you can do to do your pre-work for the next day.
Yeah, I
before you pass out.
I take a bath and I'm reading my sides for the next day's work in the bath, and maybe have a little chicken breast and half a glass of wine or something, and I pass out, get up at 5:30 and do it again.
Right. Yeah. And during the first season, when as much as your wife knew you had no choice, when you were actually facing that, did you sneak home a couple of weekends during the first 6 months?
I come home about 3 of the 4 weekends a month.
Oh, you do?
I do.
Oh, yeah. And that's the way you started as well?
And that's the way,
season?
Yeah, that's the way it works out. And
in case anybody's watching, there's no fly or bug in here.
Right there.
That's
Look,
just an affectation
right
of my guest. Wow, he got it!
Look.
Mr. Miyagi! Holy crap!
See?
He nailed that little son of a bitch.
Can you see that?
Oh, that's no freckle.
That's
Kenny, go ahead and zoom in. Get up off your Dr. Chen ass.
Right there.
That son of a bitch was part of our crew until the moment. That was Jeff Goldblum. Thank you.
Now you're going to need some sort of napkin.
It was just buzzing around and buzzing around.
Nice job. Robin just quit.
That's right. Our director is you can't kill anything guy.
Is that right? Oh, he's not. He's just stunned.
Yes. That's why he did this, because you don't want to kill it.
Here you go.
You want to just show him to a new. Whoever from the outer production staff has sent me a message via the message board here in the studio that says John Larroquette won 4 in a row.
Yeah, he did.
There are a whole bunch of actors that won Best Supporting Actor 5 years in a row. We're looking for Best Lead Actor in a Drama, so keep doing your research in the other room. Okay, so it's all you can do to get through this. And then you add, at the end of season 1, well, first of all, let's stay a little bit on the track here. You read the script, you hand it to your wife, and you say, honey, I think you know what this means. And by page 10, she knows what it means. She doesn't have to get through to the end, but by the end, she tosses it down. And that's just for the pilot. Now, this being AMC, a fairly new network, what was the pilot process for this particular project in terms of getting the green light to do a series? I seem to recall the first season was broken up by, was it the strike?
Writer's strike. Yeah, we were scheduled to do a full 12, and the writer's strike stopped us short. We ended up doing 7, including the pilot.
Right.
And that's why it was a surprise when the nominations came. We got a few nominations, myself and Vince Gilligan for the writing the pilot,
right,
directing the pilot, and that's what I was surprised, because I didn't think it would be enough episodes for the Academy to sample.
Right.
But the process was the same. When this script, I so cherished this script that I in the negotiation process, first of all, it was very difficult. Vince Gilligan was my champion to get that, because, and this is why I'll counter you said you won't accept that there was some right place, right time, but I will tell you.
All right.
Let me tell you this little story.
Please.
I wrote and directed this small little independent film for my wife as a birthday present.
Called Last Chance.
Called Last Chance. It's a sweet little drama that we did, and we went out to the middle of the desert to make it, and I put all my money in. I just threw caution to the wind and just did it.
And this is 1999, which I just want to point out is before all the Malcolm in the Middle money started coming in.
Yes, it is.
Because let's keep that in perspective. If
I didn't have much, and I raised money through friends and family, and we shot this on 35 millimeter, and we went out, we did this, and I came back to LA, and I was editing, and I was broke, and my agent called and said, there's a call for X-Files. Do you want to go in on it? but you're busy, I know. I go, no, I need the money. Let me see if I can go get this job. And it's a guy who was a backwoods kind of hick bastard. He was a real jackass, a real asshole. And this part I had in the movie was I had this big Fu Manchu nasty mustache, mutton chops like this, and I looked the part, so I thought I can go in and get this. And I got it. And it was written by Vince Gilligan, who was the writer-producer of X-Files.
Sure.
So we had this experience together. And it shows an example of not only how lucky that was, but also a little insight into the nuances of Vince Gilligan, which is this character that he wrote was kind of a takeoff. It's a tongue-in-cheek takeoff of the movie Speed, where my character had something in his brain. It was an episode called Drive, I think. And I had something in my brain where if I wasn't going 80 miles an hour in a westerly direction, my head would explode. So somehow David Duchovny gets in the car and he's driving me. And for most of the episode, it's he and I in this car. And if he wrote my character to be sympathetic and sweet and nice, then the audience would, of course, root for David to save this guy. We like him, save him. But they wouldn't necessarily be invested in. What he did was he wrote my character to be awful. I mean, one time I go, was Mulder, was that a Jew name?
Nice.
He's shut up, and he's driving. Because I was this awful person, it put the emotional dilemma right in the middle of his central character.
Right.
Do I save this man just because he's a human being?
Right.
Perfect and beautiful.
Right.
And that's the difference. So I got to know him there. And it was because he felt that my character had to be somewhat sympathetic in order to still have the audience engaged in this.
Absolutely. At some point.
At some point, they still feel for him. He's going through this hellacious thing. And he remembered me from that. Now, fast forward past Malcolm in the Middle, 7, 8 years later, he has this opportunity. AMC is starting up. They only want scripts that you cannot find on broadcast.
Right.
So they said, the note session for Vince Gilligan to AMC was, this is a great script, go ahead, make it. And he...
Holy shit.
Yeah, exactly. He went, okay, yeah. Run before
Don't change your mind.
And so he was like, great. He says, I want Bryan Cranston. He said,
the Malcolm in the Middle guy.
That's exactly what they said.
Are you fucking nuts?
Exactly what they said.
Yeah.
You were there.
Yeah. I was in the meeting.
Yeah,
but I said, me, I'll do it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
We're still obsessed with the Malcolm in the Middle.
That's what Vince Gilligan said. He said, yeah, no.
But that's it. And they go, no, he's the silly dad from Malcolm. He's not right for this.
And he sat there trying to explain, let me show you film on Bryan from this thing we did together, because I got to know him before he was a cartoon.
Yeah.
For all intents and purposes.
Yeah.
Which is all that's in their head now.
Right, exactly right. Exactly right. Now, where's the serendipity to this? Had I lasted a week longer shooting this movie, I wouldn't have got the call to go in and audition for X-Files. I wouldn't have met Vince. You see how it's like right place, right time. There's a component that actors need to have, actors, writers, directors have to have in order to have a successful career. That is not always included. Sure, talent, perseverance, patience are always mentioned. Luck is the other thing.
Crazy.
You have to have crazy luck.
Yeah.
And how you can't account for that, but you can be ready for it by being available and knowing your craft.
Yeah. Yeah. All the training and all the experience that leads up to those rare opportunities is just as important as the lucky opportunity.
Yeah.
But without that luck component, no. My career had, without question, a ridiculous, absurd luck situation where I was in Rob Reiner's face every day working on this little television 6-week episode thing that no one in time would see, but because I was in his face every day working on that.
Yeah.
One day at lunch he said, I'm doing this movie. It was a big Broadway play called A Few Good Men, and you're kind of perfect for the co-counsel. I've got an offer out to Jason Alexander, but if Seinfeld gets picked up for a second season, he won't be available. And man, now if I hadn't been in his face every day working on that project, there's not a chance in hell. Really, truly.
Yeah.
that it would have been so clear to him that that was an
That you could do
opportunity
this,
for
yeah.
me. Right.
That's exactly right.
And absurd what sort of a turn things took
Yeah.
after that.
But it's luck has that also, the element of luck is that you were prepared and you were working on
I was
this
in front of his face,
you were
not
there
just
with
having
it.
lunch,
Exactly.
but actually
serving him
earning
lunch.
my
What else
keep.
can I get you, Mr. Ryder?
Yeah, cappuccino, yes.
As the Bush.
Yeah, but earning my keep, yes, on a daily basis. And you know, no one was more thrilled for Seinfeld's success.
Yeah.
So you're off to do the series that first year. You're setting up camp. You're living out in the desert, for all intents and purposes. Albuquerque, God bless you. And there must be a sense from fairly early on that the series, as the scripts are coming in, because Vince wrote several of the first.
Yeah, well, he wrote the pilot, then he wrote the first 2 of season 1.
And then, like any showrunner, he's rewriting every script that comes in. Right.
Every script he goes through. Not necessarily rewriting, of course, but editing and putting his stamp on it, his impressions.
Which is, he certainly needs to, and I'm sure the people who are writing the scripts know that's a part of it, and they depend on
That's
his
television.
So at what point during the first season of shooting, before it's aired, do you start to get what I call the hedging of the heart, which is, I know how great this is. I've also been around long enough to know that I can't count on anything being as received as it feels going out. Is that a part of your process? Are you just in there doing the work, come what may? Or the reason I ask is because the show is so unique and so special for the fans who have latched onto it and claim it as their own and take such great pride in turning other people onto it. It's one of those things that when you're in it, when you're doing it, there's a part of you that knows the potential. And now you're a part of this team. And you're away from home, and you're really part of this team.
Right.
And now you just want your team to win. You want your team to be successful.
Right.
Your own personal experience aside is how I would find myself in that world. So I'm curious what you're going through shooting that first year before it goes on.
I think, you know, we have the same sensibilities, really. It's about focusing on the work and knowing that it's good. But when you're in the business as long as we have been, you cannot pick a winner. In the sense that you cannot predict whether or not it'll be successful, in the sense that it will be picked up.
Yeah, and at some point you don't even want to play that game.
I don't play the game.
Yeah.
I don't even think about it.
Waste of time.
It's a waste of time. All you have to do is focus on doing the best you can, and knowing that what you're doing is valuable, interesting, daring. And I knew from the pilot that we had a great show. Yeah. And if this show lasted only those first 7 episodes, I would be able to look back with pride and say,
this is one of the greatest things I've ever done.
7 episodes. It didn't last, but that's okay. That's the way it goes. There's no way you can predict the success of anything. And I think there was a perfect storm scenario coming up where AMC was just beginning. They're aggressive. And they need, by virtue of their newness to series television, they need to be patient.
Oh boy.
They don't have anything in pull it off, put this on.
Yeah.
Nope, no, take that off, put this on. No, that's no good, put this on. Try it, let's get a black kid. Let's get rid of the black kid. Let's get away, you know, I mean, they do all kinds of stuff that the showrunners go, wait, well, you're fucking with the whole concept that we have here.
Right.
And there was none of that. It was here's the show you're making, great. We're going to be patient. We believe in this. And when we were negotiating the contract, I said, you know what? I know I'm going to be away, and I want to know that AMC is going to be behind this. So I got the number of the vice president of production of AMC, and I talked to him. His name is Rob Sorcher. He's now with the Cartoon Network, but he was a good guy, and he was nurturing this. And I said, Rob, are you really doing this? This is before Mad Men came on the air.
AMC hadn't really been stamped.
Right. And so he said, let me
branded.
send you the pilot of our first series, and then let's talk. all right. So he sent me the pilot of the not yet aired Mad Men, and I was blown away.
Yeah.
And I thought, all right, never mind. We don't need to talk anymore. We're good. And he said it's the best sales job he's ever had. Is that, and now with Breaking Bad and Mad Men, that writers, really good writers, are flocking to AMC, and they wanted it because we only do 13 episodes, so they have a life.
Right.
And the other thing is they leave them alone. They let the creators create, and so I mean it's that, and it's also I must say Sony TV has been a tremendous partner in this.
Oh, nice.
Here the story with Sony TV is the two co-presidents of TV production went into the chairman and pitched this idea of a high school chemistry teacher who is going to become make crystal meth and become a drug dealer. And he said, that's probably the worst sounding idea for a television series I've ever heard of. Good luck, go make it. It was like, well, wait a minute, you just said, it just showed that I trust you guys, that we put you in that position to make these decisions, and that's what they're doing. So
and what rarefied air to have that conversation. It just doesn't exist anymore. It seems like all the network executives and all the studios want to be able to point a finger in case things go wrong.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't do it. He said we should do this.
Yeah.
And
do you like that? I don't know. Do I like it?
Yeah.
Let's check and see if I like it.
So let's I realize I may have not finished the thought, which is pretty delicious, of Vince Gilligan saying you have to hire this guy, and them saying there's no way we're hiring this guy. What was the end of that process in terms of how he won that particular battle? Did they just at some point say, okay, we trust you? Or did you have to jump through some hoops?
Well, there's the audition for your audience. The audition process is a number of things, and hopefully you get in to meet the director early, which I did, the creator of it, and then you can either be offered the role or you have to test. And because there was some resistance, they asked me if I would test, and I said yes. And that means there are 3 or 4 other actors. And you sign the deal, and you go in, and you can either get the part or not. Well, it's better to be offered a role because then your odds are 100%, right? It's like
it's night and day.
So
did you know who the other actors were that were also testing?
I don't. I can't remember who they were talking. It's
probably best that you don't.
It's all rumor anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Know which one of us actually tested.
Did you?
Not important. Not important.
Did you test for this?
No, I would have killed 2 of them. I would have killed 2 of them. But no, I was not.
No, so I was about to test. I pick up my daughter from middle school, and I take her to go bowling. So we're bowling, and I get a call on my cell phone from Peter Liguri, who's the head of Fox at the time.
Right.
And he says, hi, Brian, how you doing? Good. Peter, how are you? He says, good. I have an offer for you. I want you to be in a pilot for us, for Fox. I'm sending you the script, and what do you think? Oh, it's always nice to hear.
Thank you.
So thank you. And I read it. It was a script called Nurses, kind of a Grey's Anatomy sort of thing, where it's kind of sexy people, And I thought, not really there, not really in that, but...
Well, he thinks I'm sexy.
That's nice, So I started doing this, and then all of a sudden, nothing's sexy, And then...
you passed the mirror.
Suck in the guy. And so I had a thought, though. I thought, I wonder... So I make a call to my agents, and I talk to them, and I say...
Tell them...
Is there a way that we can let everyone know that this offer came to me without letting people know? Are there people, like in your inner circle, who cannot keep a secret? When you right? And you just say, now remember, don't tell anybody.
Right.
And oh my God.
So you had the wherewithal to create a leak.
So we created kind of a leak.
Nice.
And so they said yes.
So much better, by the way, just to give folks an idea, so much better to do it that way. And it's rarely ever done that way. Instead of having the agent call and say, just so you know, we've been offered this other thing, and so we really need to know now.
Yeah.
The hardball. The leak is sweet.
Yeah.
I've rarely heard of this.
Yeah.
Other than the government work, obviously. But this is sweet.
Yeah. It got out there,
Yeah.
and Fox kept calling. We need an answer. We need an answer. I keep going, did they call? No, nothing yet, nothing yet. It's like, oh, God. We need it by Tuesday. We need to know deadline Tuesday on the Fox pilot. And it's like Monday around 5:30, we get a call from Sony, and they said, don't have to test. It's his. The offer is his if he wants it for Breaking Bad.
Woo! Doggy!
Yeah, it was like, wow, nice.
I would send maybe a monthly check to Peter Lagore.
Exactly.
Yes, not weekly, but a monthly. I might send at least some flowers. Holy crap, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it was fun.
Wow, that's great. One of the things we like to do here is to welcome in the folks who are fans of yours. To offer up a couple of questions.
Okay.
This is from Renee French, at Renee French from the Twitterverse. Could you talk a bit about the avocado face mask, fridge, rape, sex scene you directed? How many takes? And was it difficult to direct and act in a scene that was so intense?
Yes. Yes.
You directed the season opener of season 2 and 3.
Yes.
Okay. So this is season 2 opener.
Yeah.
First time you're directing on this show.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, it was a scene about Walter White's displaced anxiety, that he just escaped this brutal beating, and came home and didn't know what to do with it. And at first, what I wanted to do was to crave. I just wanted someone to hug me and hold me and tell me it's going to be all right in a man's way. Right. And I touch my wife and I feel her and I smell her and it sends the wrong signals and it gets aggressive and I get physical with her.
Animal.
And so that was the idea. And it was difficult. And those kind of scenes, whether I'm acting or directing, I want to talk in generalities about those scenes. But you don't want to rehearse it too much because then it becomes measured and
not animal
and not surprising. So we talked in generalities with Anna Gunn about that and how it was going to be and what I wanted to do in shooting it from a director's standpoint is because it wasn't about love, it was about aggression and they are not connected. That you'll notice in the way it cut together is the way I wanted it, where it was fragments, that you don't see the two of us together ever. It's like a piece of her and me, and then my hand and her underwear and the legs and the feet kicking out and the push and the hand, and it's like it's all messy and fast and aggressive, unnerving, and it came out really nice. It was tough to do because. Well, you're all in. Well, I didn't mean that as a double entendre, actually. But it was difficult. But I mean, but when you succeed in scenes like that is when you really feel the joy of your work. That you've confronted difficult experiences and felt good about them.
We mentioned Last Chance, and you also directed some episodes of Malcolm in the Middle, but had you indeed directed, let alone something that intense, but I don't know if there was that sort of intensity in Last Chance, was there?
There was some, yeah. There was some intensity in fight scenes and some...
That your character was in?
That my character was in as well, yeah. And it's interesting. Directing yourself is not, to me, I don't find it as difficult as the other aspect of directing is when my character is in a scene, but not in the foreground. I don't know what the other actors are doing. If my character is supposed to be reading a magazine in the back or something, I can't really direct. I ask the actors, how'd that feel? Right. Did we cover this point and this point? Did you feel that that it was, aggressive enough? Did you? Let's try it again. And if you have an idea, just try it again. And basically, it's all about trusting your actors. And I'll go to the writer who's always on the set with us, who wrote that episode.
Wow.
And I'll say, here are the aspects that I'm looking for in this.
Right.
And then I just print everything. And in film, there are certain takes, and you don't print every take. In my case, when I'm in the scene, I just print every take so I can take a look. There might be some little.
Also, it saves you time for video playback.
Yeah,
You're going to print everything. You don't need to
print
stop and watch a tape.
Right.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. We don't have video playback on. There's that debate whether or not it takes up too much time. You know, we sometimes have it.
Yeah.
So.
Do you in fact know who created video playback?
Jerry Lewis.
Correct continues. Talented Jews for 400. This one from Facebook. Oh, it's time for a tweet 5, Mr. Dave Keckner.
T5, T5 forever now. He's a funny guy.
He's absolutely crazy.
He's crazy funny.
And so very, very so organically funny. That was the thing about him. There wasn't any jokes. There wasn't any...
yeah. That's the part I don't like about him.
Yeah. Finally, we found something to argue about. I want to give credit here to, it says from Facebook. Does that mean Elaine Ewing helped bring this one to us? Vicky Pezza? Pezza? P-E-Z-Z-A. Pezza.
Pizza.
Let's say Pezza.
No. Let's say Pezza. Vicky Pezza. Tweet 5. And these are Coke or Pepsi, this or that. No correct answer.
Coke.
Yeah, right.
Oh, no, sorry. Too fast?
Malcolm or Reese?
Malcolm.
Jerry Seinfeld, Larry David?
Jerry.
Acting or directing?
Acting.
Seth MacFarlane or Kevin Smith?
Seth.
Lost or Mad Men?
Mad Men.
You know your bread is buttered. Those were all correct answers.
Oh, they really?
Yeah, they really were. Let's talk. Thank you, Vicky Pizza, to allow us to sidetrack a moment. Let's talk about what started out as a one-er or a one-off episode of the Seinfeld show and became what, 6 episodes?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Jamie, you were quoting the one where he became a Jew, and Jerry and they
for
were
the jokes.
Yeah, they were pissed off because it was just for the jokes.
Right.
Is that the deal?
Well, actually, Jerry was upset, so he goes to my former priest and complains about it in the confessional. He sits down on the kneeler. He doesn't quite figure that out, and he says, "My dentist, he converted to Judaism. That's not fair."
Jesus, that's one of the best Seinfelds I've ever heard.
And so he says, and this troubles you as a Jewish person? You know, no, it troubles me as a comedian.
Why is Jerry always yelling?
And that's, you know, that was the experience on that show. You know, Jerry, is that the only time we ever stopped taping was when he would crack up, when he would just laugh. And so you see the takes that they kept. He's
big smile.
He's big smiling.
Yeah.
And it's like, we'll have to go with that. At least he wasn't laughing.
Yeah, why? Yeah, it's true. The character on the his character on the show was always
He was
smiling.
always smiling.
He always seemed so happy.
Because he found it humorous. It was a great show for that reason. And I learned a lot from it, and it was just great to hang around and to see the difference of what Jerry Seinfeld brought to it and what Larry David would bring to it. And Larry David was, you know, he's kind of a into his head kind of guy, you know, and he's thinking, yeah, that's funny, that's good.
What were his
you delay it a little
communicating skills as an actor in that experience, in terms of Larry being able to communicate? Was there an openness to it, or was it that sort of confined?
No, there was chances you could take, and
because in TV, of course, in half hour,
yeah,
the showrunner instead of the director is really in charge at some point.
Yeah, well, the showrunner, who is the main writer producer of any given television show, is always has the last word. As a director in television, you never direct for your own vision. It's always for the vision.
In servitude.
And so it puts you in a little bit of a box, but I always try to think that if I can surprise my showrunner a couple times an episode, then I've done my job. Give him what he needs, and then surprise him a couple times, and I've done well. You know, here's one example. There was one time when Jerry thought that I was molesting people when they went under in my dental chair. You know, I had the dental hygienist who was from, you know, it was like a Playboy model type thing. And then he's in my dental chair, and I'm to give him nitrous oxide, and I put it on him, and he goes out, and I said, now just relax, and we'll see when you wake up. And then he doesn't know, his shirt is untucked, and he go, I don't know if I was tucked or untucked, you know, and he didn't know if I molested him, you know. And as we broke from rehearsal of that, and we went on to another scene, an electrician says to me, "Hey, you know, it'd be funny." I go, "Oh, hi, the guy up on the ladder. You know, what do you think?" He goes, "It would be funny if you took the nitrous oxide and took a hit of it yourself first."
Holy crap.
And I went, "That's good." So we dress rehearsal comes by, nurse, nitrous oxide, and they go, "That's good." And I put it on him. Boom! It killed him. Jerry bends over. Everybody's cracking up. It stayed in. And I said, "That guy, the electrician." And everybody turns and go, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, he's the guy who got the idea."
Larry Shakespeare, come down here and take a bow. 17th generation.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Pretty nice. And so then when they're calling back to do several more episodes, it's like, are you kidding? This is too good.
Yeah, but you know, that show really set a great standard. Before, the standard operation procedure on a sitcom was people sitting around drinking coffee. And like, I don't know, what are you gonna... Seinfeld comes along and says, no, every single cast member has an agenda and they're out, and then you've got to cross them and have them relate to each other, and it's this mix and mingle. So no matter who they're cutting away to, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
And hard work, but brilliant. And so they use their guest stars as they should to facilitate the main storylines. So the only time that Tim Whatley, the dentist, shows up on Seinfeld is when I have a specific purpose to function,
right,
to facilitate those storylines. And I was happy to do it.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
From at SW Florida Art, did Bryan meet the family when making I Know My First Name is Steven? Anything odd about other son who later became a killer?
Steven Steiner, I believe his name was. I Know My First Name is Steven was based on the story of the kid who was kidnapped, and they didn't, and he didn't know his name. Right. They changed his name and this whole thing. And Arliss Howard played the kidnapper, and I played a policeman who's going to investigate this, and it was a really, really good project. And my first introduction to that world, and then when I had my child, I became a spokesperson for the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. And it's...
Based on your experience working on the project, you got...
Yeah. And
obviously becoming a father makes you, but...
And that was it. That was the tipping point. You become a father, and pretty soon... You know, for most men, we can take care of ourselves. We get married, we can take care of our wives. Then you have children, and now you realize, oh, they're off at school, or I can't. I feel a little weakened by it and vulnerable. So that was coming up, and I wanted to figure out a way that I can help, and so I created a thing called Kid Smarts, which is a DVD program for families to pop in and learn how to keep their kids safe from abduction.
And where can folks go to check that out?
I created and gave the program to the National Center, which is really a great organization, and they are the best at finding missing children. And now with the advent of the internet and internet predators, they're really focused on protecting kids from that. And so if you go to National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, I think they're doing as part as a premium. So if you can donate, then they can send this program to you. It's a great program, and it's for parents especially when they don't know what to say to their kids. Just sit down with them, pop this in, and it goes through the scenarios with no violence, no weapons, it's not scary.
Wow.
And it really starts to teach the kids the fundamentals of how to be aware of things that aren't quite right.
Well, that seems unbelievably helpful, I think, to a lot of parents on so many levels, one of which is it's a difficult thing to get your point across when you're the parent and you may be viewed as the authoritative person as opposed to the helpful person. Mm-hmm. Also the fear factor that a lot of parents are dealing with. No, this is serious kind of thing that might overtake their emotions as opposed to let's watch this together and learn something.
Yeah, it really covers a wide range of it, and you can, from the age of 6 to 12, 13 years old, I think it's very helpful.
Now, did this have anything to do with how often your own parents tried to get you to run away?
It was several times. We'd go on trips. Their idea of a road trip would be to drive out as far as they can, and let me out to go to the bathroom, and I come back out. And
That is funny. Funny for the family.
Yeah.
Yeah, not so much for you. The dossier says your father, in fact, was a character actor, is a character actor, forgive me. There was a little confusion as to whether there was any relation to another Joseph Cranston, the writer of The Corpse Grinders, but Joe Cranston, the character actor.
Yeah, he wrote a lot of Corpse Grinders.
Your dad was also a writer?
Yeah.
Did he go by Joseph L. Cranston ever?
Yes.
Oh, well then he in fact wrote The Corpse Grinders.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
It seemed like it was starting to, on the research started to seem like this might in fact be two different people.
No,
So your father was doing a lot of writing?
Yeah, he was an actor for quite a while.
Crawling Hand.
Crawling Hand was another one, yes. He did that one as well. A movie called Trauma.
Oh my God.
A lot of things, yeah. And so he as an actor, it was the up and down and up and down. I remember one time we got a pool put in, a built-in pool in the backyard. Hey, look at this, and gunite and everything, and put in the whole thing. And the following year, I remember my mom saying we can't go swimming because we can't afford the chemicals to go in the pool.
Oh man.
And I was like, okay. One year we got a new car. The next year after that, we got rid of that car and got an old car. It was like,
how old are you when this is happening?
I'm a kid. I'm 7, 8, 9, 10.
Was there much more explanation beyond?
To kids, we don't really need much.
Yeah.
It's because we think that this is how things are done.
Right.
I don't know. I guess.
Yeah, when you're 7 or 8, there's no keeping up with the Joneses concept in your head.
No,
It doesn't mean anything.
It's not until in retrospect you realize, oh, that was when things were bad. I get it.
Right.
Yeah.
And what age do you think you were when it started to connect between just how things were and what Dad actually does for a living?
About last week.
Last
week I started.
Wait a second. Last week it was. Now
that's what it's. No, when I was a kid, we used to. My brother and I were taken by my dad into. We used to see go over and see I Love Lucy and see the Andrew Griffith Show and all these shows being shot.
Right.
And it was always special. It was there was always a special feeling when we drove onto a lot. I still feel that now. I drive onto any lot and I get a little tingle.
Absolutely.
Because it's like, who am I? Why do I get to experience this? This is fantastic.
That's where we differ also. I get the same tingle,
Yeah.
Same sense of tingle, but when I drive on, the thought process is, I can't believe I'm still not running the studio. Yeah, that's so weird. The chasm.
And where in your body is the tingle? That's the question.
Same place that dentist got to over the Labor Day weekend. So your father is an actor and a writer, and you're visiting sets of these shows that you see on TV, and you're starting to get this sense there's this make-believe world that people do for a living. And is there an age when something that goes off in your own mind as this is a possible life for you?
No, that didn't happen until I was 22.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So then it was just this crazy visit like an amusement park.
It was a crazy thing, but I did a commercial with my dad directed a commercial for the United Way. As when I think commercials were like 90 seconds, some of them were back in those days.
Yeah.
And I played this kid who playing baseball, and then baseball goes in the street, and I run out and I get hit by a car. The ambulance comes, they send me to the hospital, and they put a cast on me, and they put a real cast on from my toes to my neck. I was in a real cast like this.
For the commercial?
Yeah. And it hardened and everything, and people.
This will be great, kid.
Yeah. And then in those days too, they buzz sawed it off with a table saw.
Thank goodness.
They and then
don't move, kid.
Don't move. And then there was a period of where I'm on the parallel bars, learning how to walk again. And then the final shot was walking out with this woman who was supposed to be my mother, and we're walking out of the hospital and into the street where I get hit by a bus. And then
how ironic.
And then we start the process all over again.
It's a happy ending.
And I knew it's like that was kind of fun, and I got some money, some spending money for that.
How old were you?
7.
Wow.
Yeah.
But that didn't take, you're saying?
No, I wanted to be a baseball player.
Oh.
I really love baseball. I still love baseball.
Right.
And I wanted to be a baseball player, and I almost became one, actually.
What does that mean?
Well, I was only missing talent.
I see.
Had I had that.
Right, it's about luck. It's about right place, right time.
Yeah, exactly right. No, I didn't get the correlation between practice and putting in work. I didn't have a work ethic in high school. So I kind of floundered and didn't really figure it out, and it was really a confusing time for me, and I wouldn't want to go back to high school. It was not good for me.
Right, but so you didn't actually play baseball in high school?
Well, I was good enough to
make
be
the
on
team?
the team.
Right, but not a star.
But not, I just
Because you weren't
couldn't-
willing to put in the work.
I didn't put in the work. Didn't have the work ethic. And now I just have work ethic.
Now you have an annoying work ethic.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
It annoys my wife. Something awful.
I sense that you set the bar pretty high, and I will say, when working on a crew, and in your case with the show, there is a family environment. There is a sense. There are people who have come back year after year, who I'm guessing the majority of which also don't live the rest of the year in Albuquerque. Some do,
right?
I imagine now.
Right.
Where, as I mentioned before, being number one on the call sheet, you know, there's the showrunner, there's the person who wrote that week's show, there's the director, but everyone's kind of looking over here a lot in terms of the creative tone at times, but also the work ethic.
Yeah.
If you bolt out of your trailer when they knock on your door saying, "We're ready for you now," you set a precedent.
Yeah.
And a tone.
Yeah.
For the work. I'm sensing that's what's going on.
I love the work.
Yeah.
And I listen. We for 30 years, and you've been doing this a long time too. We've worked with some people who are less than favorable.
Oh boy.
Less than people that you would not want to work with again, and then there are great majority of people that you would love to work with again. But through those experiences, I realized that if I ever had the opportunity to influence a set, I knew how I'd want to do it.
Right.
And I was able to do that on Malcolm as well, because Jane Kaczmarek didn't want it.
Right.
And Frankie was too young.
Sure.
So it was really up to me to say, here's what we're going to do. We have crew gifts, and I would organize all that, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do this with the crew, and we're going to, and set a tone that would carry on. And it's about being kind.
Yeah.
It's about focusing on the work. It's about the drama being in the scenes and not around the scenes.
Yeah.
And it's about working as a team and coming home. Like in Albuquerque, we'll have bowling night that I put on for the crew and the cast, and everybody comes and everybody just gets silly and stuff like that. But I think it's like a happy crew is a hardworking crew, you know,
right.
and we have
Everyone
that
feels
reputation.
Appreciated.
They feel
also.
appreciated because
Right.
they are appreciated. It's hard work. Like I said, most people don't realize that an average day is 12 to 14 hours for us.
Right.
And that's a long time. That's a long time to be away from your family on a day-to-day basis, you know. So at least make it enjoyable.
Yeah.
And
you're spending more time with these people than you are your own family,
Yeah.
and that's true of them.
In many cases.
Each of them also.
Yeah.
Let me ask about Jamie and I were late to the game, which I've explained to you in terms of, I know, the show's amazing, all right, fine, and then getting the DVDs and then falling deeply, hopelessly, madly in love with the thing. But we got to be first educated about the show by watching it on DVD. And I'm sure you're aware, there are some, dare I call them, bonus features when you watch it on DVD the very first time. And in fact, a quote developed from this experience for us. Our very dear friends, Elaine and Travis, who are in the other room, who you've met, had already been watching the show when it debuted and were big fans and hadn't seen any of it on DVD because they were real fans from the beginning. And when Jamie called Elaine to say what we had been watching on the DVD, what was the quote that Elaine yells into the phone to Travis?
Hey, TR! Jamie says on those DVDs they're getting F-bombs and Cranston ass!
F-bombs and Cranston ass.
F-bombs and Cranston ass.
Yeah.
That's some nasty shit.
Yeah.
And then I told another girlfriend of mine this because she watched the show from the beginning. She's like, Cranston ass? Oh man, I don't get Cranston ass.
Yeah. So the fans of the show who are watching every week and have not enjoyed the DVDs, let us tell you there are some bonus features.
I haven't seen them.
So when you're shooting the show, obviously you're sharing F-bombs, which you must have been told at some point, don't worry about that, we'll cut it out later, or don't worry about that, we'll put it on the DVDs, or was that ever really discussed?
I honestly haven't seen them.
All right, I know you haven't, but when you shot the show, there were some F-bombs.
Are there? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, we're getting longer episodes on the DVDs because I remember the pilot's like 55 minutes long or something. Was the pilot a little longer?
They put in some footage clearly that they had to cut.
What's great about AMC is that if you can convince them that this is absolutely essential, so don't restrict us to this
44
arbitrary number of 43 minutes every single time, or 46 or whatever, and they'll give it push and take. So that's great. I haven't seen the DVDs.
We'll get you a copy. I'm pretty certain.
Yeah, I've seen the jackets.
Yeah.
But,
they're nice.
They're nice jackets.
They're very nice. Yeah. No Cranston ass on the jacket. No.
So Cranston ass, is that where I'm totally naked?
There may have been some love-making moments in the first season that involved some footage that I personally didn't need to see, but Jamie apparently.
But you're glad that you did.
Benefited from. I won't be the same.
No, I know.
Having experienced it.
It's funny because.
No, it wasn't.
Oh yes, it's funny. It was funny when I was naked in Malcolm in the Middle, and then now it's just sad. It's just sad.
Yeah.
No one really wants to see a 50-year-old pasty white-ass man,
Well, speaking of which, the tidy whities that you enjoyed so on the Malcolm in the Middle. Mm-hmm. Hell, they show it in the trailer for the damn show.
Yeah.
You're doing this, I think.
Right.
In some of putting together your dossier, found a conversation with you and someone where you were discussing the creation from your involvement and participation, the creation of Walter White.
Uh-huh.
And one of those things that was in the script was, in fact, the tidy whities. And you had initial reservations about, again, with this?
Yeah. Well, it said, that first page, a pair of trousers is floating down from the sky. An RV runs over them in the middle of this red-painted desert. Inside, there's a man wearing only a respirator and tighty-whitey underwear, driving frantically. Another guy with a respirator is passed out in the passenger seat. Behind him, two dead men are sliding back and forth in a sea of glass and chemicals. And I'm like, that was the first page.
I know.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell? And so you dive right in, but later I went, the tidy whities, and I brought it to Vince's understanding that I had done that a lot in Malcolm in the Middle, and when I could choose anything I wanted, and I chose the tidy whities for Malcolm in the Middle because Hal was just a big boy.
Yeah.
He never really made that transition to manhood, so I thought, this is funny. All the boys are wearing the same tidy whities, and so is the dad. We get it, a nice visual for that. And then there was a reason he wrote tidy whities in this, and I didn't really know why. He said, well, pick whatever you want. So I'm going through, there's boxers, they're tall, there's this and there's that. What's his style? And I kept looking back at the tidy whities, wondering why he wrote that in there. And I started thinking about this character, and when I go through to get a character, I keep looking and keep trying to find the emotional core of a character. And for me, that's what I hold on to.
Sure.
For Hal, it was fear in Malcolm.
Right.
And from his fear, everything stemmed. He's afraid of everything, losing his job, being a bad husband, afraid of heights, and everything was, So I couldn't find it for Walter White until I realized, oh, no wonder I can't find it. He's so covered. He's so calloused. He's so depressed. We can't see it. What his emotional until it blows up as it goes along, and then it spews. And I realize maybe the tidy whities in this case will represent a stunted growth that he stopped caring at a certain time. He doesn't care about it. He had this silly mustache that looked ridiculous. He had hair that always needed a cut, and his clothes were weird. He was a little paunchy.
His glasses are pretty.
Glasses were
fashion forward.
Everything about him was, what's the point?
Yeah.
And so I thought maybe that's the case too with the tidy whities.
Yeah. It seemed like that there was a sense of fashion or appearance at all was the very last thing on his mind.
Right.
It was one of the early messages for that, along with when we saw him fully dressed. That rang true as well. I believe I read that the mustache and glasses were specifically your idea, something about creating a mask.
Yeah, I wanted to have this guy. To me, he was a depressed guy, and in a big umbrella manifestation of depression. To me, if you can pick two camps, one is the person who is angry and outwardly blaming everyone else for their misfortune. You know, my ex-wife screwed me over. That's why my boss is such a jackass, or otherwise, you know. And then there's the guy who implodes, who just takes one step and another step, and you just see him silently dying, and he's invisible to society, to himself, and that's what Walter White was. So I wanted something that made him more invisible. We took all the color out of my face. We didn't want any ruddiness. I wanted my face to blend into the walls. If you notice, in the early going, the clothes that we chose were all taupes and beige and sand and all these colors that have no remarkable feature to them whatsoever. The hair was a muss, a dirty brown. We took all I have red highlights in my hair, took all the red out, just made it brown, dull brown. I grew this mustache, big thick mustache. It looked like Magnum.
Yeah.
It was a big manly mustache, and there's something wrong with this. So Frida Valenzuela, my makeup artist, said, let me do a few things. First of all, what I learned, if you want to make a mustache look impotent, I know how.
Please.
Okay. I know there's guys out there just dying to know.
We will edit this, and this one little piece will be a viral video in seconds.
First of all, you have to cut the mustache off at the corners of the mouth. You can't let the mustache drop any further than the corners of the mouth. It cannot go past that point.
Yeah, it potentially could be sexy.
Or
if
nasty,
it gets lower, or
badass,
mean, or badass, or baseball player.
Yeah. So you cut that off. That's number one. Number two is you thin it out so that you can see the skin underneath it. You don't want a big bushiness. You thin it, thin it, thin it. And number three is lighten it. If you have so we lightened the color, and we thinned it, and we cut it there, and pretty soon it looked like a caterpillar just resting on my upper lip.
Yeah.
And that was perfect because I wanted people to go,
that's pathetic.
Yeah, what is he? And the glasses and the hair. And I made sure I didn't get any sun because I wanted to be pasty white, and I gained weight for it, and I had big love handles on the sides, and this guy was pathetic.
Right.
It was a sad sack.
Vince must have been awfully pleased, not only for your commitment creatively, but your creative design to sort of lift his image off the page in terms of just how pasty white and broken of a man, not just in spirit, but physically as well.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing he was pretty thrilled with
Well, that's, our first meeting was supposed to be 20 minutes, and it lasted an hour and a half. And I was pitching all these ideas out to him about how he would walk and how he would look and that sort of thing, and it clicked with him. And
it doesn't always click, by the way.
No.
For example, your dossier showed that you came up with a beautiful piece of business for your one-armed character in Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
And then ran it by Mr. Spielberg, who said, I love it, we're not going to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was the one-armed colonel in the State Department that we discover the problem with the Ryan boys being killed, and we need to find we need to find Matt Damon and send him back home before he gets killed. And so he brings it to me. So it says one-armed colonel. So I had plenty of time to work on this, and we took off my left hand or my left arm, and we folded up the thing. Now we didn't really take off my arm. I don't know if you knew
Wait
this.
a second. What?
No, we kept my real arm. But when the camera was shooting this way, shooting me, my arm was down.
Way crazy behind you.
Crazy behind me, up into my crack because I have long arms, and then the uniform was
Just
folded
sort of,
up. Right.
Sure.
Now when we were shooting behind me, I had to put it down and cup the
Much
boys.
more enjoyable, I'm
this
guessing.
way. Yeah, it's like too much movement, and so and that's how we did it. So I had to have this. So I asked the prop guy to get me a Demi-Tasse cup and saucer and spoon, because it said he was pouring tea. And he's pouring tea. I have a better idea. So instead of pouring and putting the pitcher down, then picking up and then putting down and taking, putting, and I said, what if I'm at my desk and I just come back and I'm looking over a dossier and I have the saucer here, which I did. I had the saucer like this, and I had the spoon, and I was stirring the coffee like that. I tap the spoon, put it on the saucer without looking at it, transferred it like this, and put it down. And then turn the page.
Wow.
Right?
Nice.
So, yeah,
nice business.
That's good.
It suggests he's had that one arm for a while.
For a long time.
He's adapted.
That was my backstory. I had a long. So I'm doing this whole thing, and Stephen comes in.
Hey, Houdini, put down the saucer.
And I said, but let me show you something. So he said, all right, show me what you got. He said, but I didn't want the coffee thing. I don't want the. He goes, this is at the moment when the door opens and we push it, we dolly right into.
He's already cutting in his brain.
He's already cutting in his brain, and it's like, show me though, show me. And I go, okay, well, like this, and I did it right. And he goes, oh, that's really good, but we can't use it.
To this day, you can do that trick.
Yeah, I can do that. If I had a dummy towel, it's gonna be,
Get him a dummy towel. Nothing.
Oh
man, I love that. I love that. What a joy that must have been, by the way, working on that.
Yeah, he's terrific. Stephen is so good with actors. And so is Tom. I've worked with Tom as a director before too, Tom Hanks, and as you might expect, they're in fact. Oh, what am I saying? Of course,
we're in the movie together.
We're in the movie together. You're the boss guy. I remember you.
It's so funny. So many times this happens, though. You know this, where you're not in scenes together.
Yeah.
And you see the movie when it comes out, you know, and then many years later, someone says, we worked together, and you're just, okay, great.
I guess we did.
Shit, I'm sorry, I don't remember. What did we work together in? So yes, and in fact, I was reminded while putting together the dossier, so I'm just as guilty. Gus Grissom.
Yeah.
Is who you portrayed in that thing you do. Yeah. I found Tom as a director. You know, when I was going to direct something, I decided I wanted to meet with people like yourself who started as an actor and then went on to direct something and directed themselves as well.
Yeah.
So at the time I didn't have a chat show. So I set up some sit-downs with Tom Hanks and Kevin Spacey and a few other people, actors who had directed. And I remember Tom saying, I said, if there's one thing on your first time out that you could now look back on and change, I'm trying to avoid all those pitfalls that are coming my way. What is the one thing? He said, well, I do remember the first couple of weeks, I would have some epiphany the night before and come into work, and I would say to Tak Fujimoto, the great cinematographer, I would say to Tak, Tak, we're in the theater. I think I want to start on the chandelier, and the guys will be coming into the theater, seeing it for the first time. We'll be coming down off the chandelier and catching them. Instead of tracking them down, nobody cares what it looks like to walk down a thing. We'll start on the chandelier, and we'll meet them at the same as they're going to. And Tak looked at him and said, why don't we bring in the actors and let them run the scene? And Tom said, oh, normally how you do it. You mean how when I'm an actor and...
Yeah, how I would like to do it, yes.
They call the actors in, you rehearse the scene, and you and I stand on the sidelines as director and cinematographer. We'll see what the actors will do, and then we decide what the shots are.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, let's do that. So he said, I stopped having epiphanies.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah.
But that's you can do that more in a features.
Yeah.
Where you have time and money. And when I direct TV, I usually start with an apology to the actors and say, I wish we had the time to really rehearse every scene.
Right.
Just see what happens, see what it feels like, but we don't. We have to go, 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 go. So I have an idea. See if this works. And I'll say, see if this blocking works for you. If it doesn't, we'll change it. So, but if it works for you, then we can get to it quicker,
It's part of the time issue.
Yeah.
Do you use...
You were fantastic in that thing you do, by the way.
Boss Vic Koss?
Boss Vic Koss. Boss Vic Koss. I remember seeing you looking in the mirror. Boss Vic Koss.
Who's going to hit me? Who's going to hit me?
Who's going to hit me? Who's going to hit me? Who's going to hit me?
I really, really loved that movie. I thought Tom did a pretty fantastic job.
Sweet
And you
movie.
just worked with him on Larry Crowne?
Yeah.
He wrote this with Nia Vardalos?
Yes.
Family? Yeah.
Yes.
And you play Julia Roberts' husband.
Yes.
And I believe there's a potential bedroom scene involved.
There was.
Shall we call it a lovemaking scene?
We can't call it a lovemaking scene. There was no love. There was no making.
No?
No. There was giddiness, there was silliness.
Sure.
And there was me wearing something smaller than this.
I see.
In my personals.
Uh-huh.
You know. And actually, it's funny
That sounds
because
like more Cranston
it's
ass.
more Cranston. It's right. You just have this dark thing covering everything, all your personals. Yeah, there was a scene. First of all, the time when Tom called me and said, I'm interested in having you read this and maybe play Julia's husband in Larry Crowne, and I saw Tom, and I was in Walter White mode. I was bald, shaved bald, and when I play Walt, I think of my dad. I think of he feels like an older man to me.
Sure.
So he's kind of hunched over and crinkly, and he's all that kind of worried and heaviness to him. And I was still in that mode, and I said, Tom, I'm doing Breaking Bad, and I look more like her dad than her husband right now. So I don't know. Yeah, no, you'll be fine. Your hair will be back. And it's like, all right. So we did the table read, and it went well. And he said, yeah, that's good. You're gonna do it. So okay. I'm still bald. I'm like, really? And I was vulnerable to this, and I was a little insecure.
Yeah.
So I went out and I got a spray tan.
Did you now?
Yeah. I bleached my teeth.
Well, you're.
And I did. I was so girl. I went so girl. Oh no, I'm not going to be pretty. And I wanted the audience.
It's Julia Roberts.
Yeah, I know.
Be a little respectful.
Yes.
Earn your place.
I got a Brazilian waxing.
No.
Oh no, yeah. That was wrong. Did I go too far?
I'm not sure that part of the Cranston ass is what we were.
Stepped over. No,
wow, that's great.
I spray tan. I lost more weight. I started working out a little heavier.
Sure.
I just wanted the audience to. I didn't want the audience to see the two of us together and go, "What? How did they?"
Well, good on you. You did not want to take them out of the moment.
No, I didn't want to take them out.
And Tom's first reaction was, "What have you done?"
Oh, I want the other guy.
I wanted.
Yeah.
Well, that must have been pretty damn fun.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun. And you know how Tom he's and she's America's sweetheart.
She's the delight we would like her to be.
She is delightful and silly and a mom and fun, and brought her kids to the set, and my daughter came and visited, and Tom's, all the kids were there, and I learned a lot from Tom from years ago about how to behave and how to, and I think that's instilled in me too. It's like, I want it to be a place where you can bring kids, that it's not so caustic, not so cynical and crude, that you can't have a familial feeling on the set. You know what I mean?
And remembering back when your father was taking you and your brother to the set of Andy Griffith.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
I mean, it was a more congenial time, obviously, in the 60s, when visiting a set. There might not have been F-bombs and Cranston ass.
There wasn't. No, but I'll tell you, one thing that I do remember is that there was still a holdover of crews still wearing suits.
Oh, my.
Back in the day, they would come and they would wear suits. You would never see that these days. And it's really amazing. Everybody was all dressed up. I didn't know why everybody was dressed up.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Do we go to church after we shoot? How does this work? Okay. Let's silly it up with a little tweet 5.
T5.
Thank you, Mr. Keckner. I love to involve the fine folk.
That's funny every time you see it.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. It's on a continuous loop in my house. At Becca Piano offers up this tweet 5. Favorite guest star role. Weirdest guest star role. Oh, I see. These are individual. So it's not a this or...
Yeah, like you see the numbers that are
Well, but it's not a this or that, is it?
No one ever stated that tweet 5 has to be this or that. It's
Come
just
on,
5
guys.
questions.
Don't fight.
You're so fired.
Hey, come on.
No, I'm just trying to explain my own insecurity and tripping up over myself.
Okay.
Favorite guest star role?
Favorite guest star role? Well, it was when doing Airwolf in 25 years ago when I met
your
my
wife. Yeah. Weirdest guest star role.
I played a very fey character on an episode of Pearl with Rhea Perlman, where I played an Isaac Mizrahi kind of guy, where I was like, hello! You know, and you know, this interesting thing is I was doing this guy, and he's all over the place, and he's just flipping around, and Tom Hanks calls the set. And everybody's like, oh, Tom Hanks is on the phone. He wants to talk to you. And I go, Tom, how you doing? And I'm going, Tom, how are you? You know, and he goes, hi, listen, I have a question to ask. Can you come down to Florida? Can you leave for Florida tomorrow to work on From the Earth to the Moon?
The other thing we worked on together.
Yes, right. That's right. From the Earth to the Moon. Yeah. Someone had to go. Yes. And I said, yes. He goes, are you still thin? I said, yes. Come on down. And I go, wait, Tom, what am I doing? He goes, you're playing Buzz Aldrin on From the Earth to the Moon. Oh, okay. I thought, bye. Okay! Shoot! You know, it was like, that's the weirdest.
I'd say excellent choice on weirdest.
Yeah.
Weirdest day/job, if any.
Day job.
I was a...
they're put together.
Yeah.
I was a videotape interviewer at Great Expectations, a video dating service.
Were you not?
I was. So, were you not? So I would say...
No, because Corey did that too. That's
really?
why, yeah. That's why.
So you would interview people?
I would interview people, and men and women, and try to get the best quality out of them. And I had a secret button where I would interview, because I wouldn't do my interviews like, okay, now we're starting the interview.
Right.
Tell me about the long walks on the beach that you love so much. You know, I would just start talking and then hit a button when I felt that they were becoming the best of themselves.
Nice.
You know, and then animated and fun and exciting. So, and then it really worked. It was a great organization. Now, of course, it's into eHarmony and all that stuff. But at the time, it was a great job, great day job.
Nice, very nice. Mm-hmm. Favorite author? Tough one.
God, I think of playwrights really right now. Arthur Miller is probably my favorite at this time.
Favorite fish?
I like that one.
I do too. It made him laugh.
Go fish.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Red fish, blue fish.
That's the correct answer.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Gone with Mary.
Mary fish?
Mary.
Ah.
That's a no fish. Well, she drinks like one. Come on.
Nice. Come on.
Stay in your corner.
Let's
My
see.
apologies, sir.
Although you debuted on Chips, there was no looking back professionally after portraying Doug Donovan. No reason to go back over that. Other than it brought you to New York, where you lived for 5 years after growing up in Los Angeles.
In Los Angeles, yeah.
So that must have been. Did you do theater in New York while there?
I did not. I did. I was on a soap opera for a few years.
When you talk about amazing training, people don't even realize for a young actor in terms of not just the voluminous potentiality, anyways, a voluminous dialogue to memorize and those skills and that muscle that needs to be created and exercised, but just the scheduling and the sense of having a so-called day job on a regular basis.
I found it really difficult.
Yeah?
I found it difficult because if you're all conscientious about your work, then you don't want to go, oh, okay, let's see what's today. Oh, anger look, I'll give number 2 on that one. And
which a lot of them do.
Surprise look number 17, you know, and then, it's stilted and that sort of thing. So you kind of have to try to work against it, because there were times when, I'm playing in a scene, and I was a good guy in my show, Loving, and my girlfriend was cheating on me, and then I got married to another woman, and she was cheating. And
you were cockled twice.
I was that guy, yeah. And so I had to do scenes like, she's looking like this, like, don't come here, I don't want to. And I'd go, who's on the phone, honey? And we'd see, nobody. And I go, okay. It's like, that's hard to do. It's like, and I'm going, please. I mean, it's obvious there's something wrong.
Let me kill her.
Can we just
let me kill her?
No. It's like, oh, God. So, that's tough work.
Okay. One of my favorite little cameos that you did came about from one of Jamie and my favorite lines from a movie that we then quoted for years afterwards and to this day. Stan Grossman's Calling.
Yeah.
Little Miss Sunshine, fantastic beyond belief.
Yeah.
And you got to work in a movie with Alan Arkin, and there's really no greater thrill in one's life. Can I be honest? I'm sorry we didn't have any scenes together.
That's great.
We didn't have any scenes together, and I went on to win an Academy Award, but you were terrific. You were at a pool, you came out of a ballroom in a hotel. Fantastic. What a great little film, but also one of those, there are no small roles. You know, there's so much in the movie for Kinnear's character had created this, there's going to be a door opening up and who's going to come through it.
Right.
So in a sense, not as easy as it looks on paper to show up as that guy. And I thought the full beard, as I recall, was a show of power and an interesting decision. I'm hoping one that you were involved in the creation and it wasn't just left over from a job you were doing before you were brought in to do that.
No, what I as you see here, in between jobs, I always grow hair.
Okay.
Facial hair, head hair, everything. Just let it grow.
Back hair, gotcha.
Back hair, and then I can sculpt what I want for my next job. I could either leave sideburns long or short, or make them thick, or mustache, no mustache, Fu Manchu. I could do a thin if I want to, play something fastidious or something. So it gives me a variety of looks. And so I was growing hair, and Little Miss Sunshine came along as just a reading sample. My agency sent it to me, said, it's a really good script. We represent the writers, the directors, and I just thought you might enjoy reading it. And I read it, and I went, this is really terrific. This is really, really well written, and I'd love to meet on this. And they go, no, Greg Kinnear's already cast, Steve Carell's already cast. There's nothing in there for you. You can't play the gay ex-boyfriend. That's not. And I go, no. There's a guy, Stan Grossman. What about him? And my agency said, he works one day.
Yeah.
And I went, so he'll be in and out, And they're going, you want to meet on that? And they go, yeah. They started shooting already. The scenes at the house where they're around the beginning of the movie. And I met them, Jonathan and, oh gosh, now I'm blanking on their name, Valerie, the directors. And I convinced them that I should do this role. And they said the same thing. He works one day, this guy, trying to talk me out of it. And I said, here's my take on this, is that I would just be kind of aloof to it. To Greg Kinnear, to his character, everything is riding on
Every
this.
damn egg is in that basket.
Every egg is riding on this. He needs this to work. And I said, I think I should just it's just one book. Call me on the next one. Didn't work. That's all right. Just say, hey, look at her. She's pretty. And just kind of be this guy who's like, I'm in his own separate world, and it's just one little piece of for me, it's not that big a deal.
Well, it's a beautiful choice because it cries for that as a viewer of the film. You're breaking inside for this idiot who has put all these eggs in one basket, and quite frankly, any other choice on your part doesn't pay off.
Wouldn't be as, I didn't think so.
Yeah.
So I pitched them that idea, and they liked it, and we did it. I worked one day.
Did they ask if you could handle a demi-tasse in a saucer?
Yeah, I said, I'm going to use this somehow. They go, where does that
I'll
fit
be nonchalant and not give a shit,
it's only
but
got
I would
one arm. Or actually do it, and I've got this arm. When I just happened to
Theater of the absurd.
So,
how nice.
The interesting thing about it is that it did turn out well, and of course, I told Jonathan and Valerie, I said, you're going to be surprised at the reaction of this. People are going to love this movie, and they tried to play it down. The interesting thing from my aspect was, I fulfilled my job. I had a very small part in there, very little piece, little slice that I needed to do. Boom. Okay, I did fine. Boom. But people loved this movie so much that they got swept up in it. That there was so much hyperbole surrounding that when friends and people that knew me, I was in it, oh my God, you were so good in that movie. Oh, you were so great. And I went, oh, that's interesting.
Wow, that is.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh my God, you were so. And I thought, that's wild.
They're so caught up in how much they love the film as a whole.
Exactly. That you
They're pouring all of that as if you're the entire cast.
You get swept up. And that so solidified my theory of, Go with a well-written word. You will never be sorry.
Yeah.
You will never be sorry.
Yeah.
Even if it didn't work at the box office, you can say, you know what? You want to see a little gem? Take a look at this. No one ever saw this movie, and you'll love it.
Yeah. That was actually one of those films that's a great barometer for don't do your best not to build up anyone's expectations. Because it's one of those little movies. It needs to be treated as a little film, and you need to not be told it's the greatest thing that ever lived.
I never do that.
Yeah.
Whenever I want someone to see a movie, I really want someone to say, I think it's worthwhile. You should see that movie. You really should put that on your list. I think you'd like it.
Not going to tell you why.
I think you'd like it.
Yeah. Speaking of the written word, we talked about Last Chance. Did it cross your mind, along with the directing, to possibly write an episode of Breaking Bad?
Well, as you know, the writing, you really need, in television, you need to be in that room. There's a writer's room where they have several different writers for the show, and they're assigned different episodes of that show. And then the showrunner edits everything that's written, the outlines and the final draft. And it's a different animal. You really have to be in that room to see how it goes along. It's actually easier for an actor to direct. I know Slattery, John Slattery's directed. He's directed twice now on Mad Men. And I'm glad he did. It turned out well.
He sure did.
Yeah. And I think it's a related thing. So we know how to talk to actors. We know what to say and sometimes how to manipulate them and into performing like how you want them, where you want them to go.
Right.
And I think it's a related thing. I think have you directed?
I just put my feet in the pool. It was for a web series, so there wasn't the pressure of a network or a studio. But it was an extraordinary experience. I'm utterly hooked for life.
Yeah.
And it was all the things. I mean, I wrote this screenplay. Billy Bob Thornton is attached. If we get the female lead, I'll be directing a feature. I'll believe it when I'm at the premiere.
Fantastic.
But in terms of finally wetting my feet once, being able to do this little web series, Vamped Out, was extraordinary. Because I'm giving line readings to other actors when I work with them anyways. Yeah. So this really...
It's so true. You're going... if you're an actor who goes, why are they setting up the camera there? The camera doesn't want to be there. The camera wants to see this, not that, That if you're that guy, then if you ever have an opportunity to direct, you better do it. Or shut up.
Yeah.
Because as you found out, it's hard.
Yes.
When you start, especially in television, it seems like your day just begins, and your first AD whispers in your ear, "We're a little behind. We gotta get moving."
In the first half hour.
To be kidding me!
How did we lose 2 hours?
And I believe it or not, I go on a director's diet when I work. I can lose 10, 12 pounds when I work as a director because I forget to eat. And so I usually have my assistant come and every 3 hours put an apple into my mouth so I can eat and think.
It's all consuming.
Yeah, it's just amazing. Yeah. It's just amazing. And I do love it, too. I really do.
And I understand there's the frustration, though, because you're carrying on as an actor, that you can't spend much time in the editing bay. You're being sent DVD cuts of the episode based on your notes.
Yeah.
And then you'll spend as much time as you can.
Yeah, I mean, there's
a machine, there's a train. It's soaring down the track.
Yeah, it's got to keep going. In television, once the production goes, you can't really stop it. And being in New Mexico, where our editing bays and everything are in California, I have to get DVDs and look at them, as opposed to going into the editing room and actually getting a vibe with your editor, which I did on Malcolm. I was able to go upstairs.
Right.
And edit when I wasn't working. Every lunch hour I was upstairs.
Right.
I just can't do that now. And so as a consequence, I think I think I may not direct this next season.
Because people are asking, season 4?
Yeah, season 4, we're going into production in January through June, and we'll premiere in July next year.
That's exciting as hell.
A little bit of a wait to get to there.
I may or may not be available. I'm just floating it.
Really?
Just floating it out there.
And may I tell you, honestly, that when you were talking about Billy Bob is attached to this and I may be able to direct, I'm thinking, is there a part in there for me? the old actor tape just keeps going. It's like, is there a part? Maybe there's a part in there.
There is. I'm just going to say it.
I don't want to do it.
I saw Oliver Platt was the first actor I ever saw do this. We were both talking to a director that we knew. He just sat down at the table, and he started talking about the film, and Oliver's the first actor I'd ever seen go, how's my part? Just came right out with it.
How's my part?
Because we all think it.
Yeah, exactly. It's thinking.
I'll never forget that. Yep. And I've tried to say that now every single time. How's my part? You are, though, technically writing Meet the Murphys with a pal of yours that you may or may not direct when the time is right.
Yeah.
Right.
How do you know that?
We have a dossier.
You know things.
There's all sorts of, I mean, one of the things that comes with doing great work is the responsibility of being careful about how you choose and maintaining a certain level of quality without, I'm not wanting to be presumptuous, treating it all like a porcelain egg and being overly careful.
Yeah.
But there are so many projects now. John Carter of Mars, Detachment, Red Tails, Drive, London Fog, Leave. Hosting SNL October 2nd for the first time. Congratulations.
I'm so excited about
That's
that.
pretty terrific.
That's fantastic.
That's something
I can't wait.
That's been brewing, I'm guessing, for quite a while, and you're so perfect for
There
it.
was some push to get that, and you know, for me, I remember when it first came on. We were watching that show, and it never dawned on me that I would be one time hosting this thing. I'm so thrilled.
It's definitely a fantasy come true.
It really is.
We are thrilled for you, sir.
Thank you.
Please don't fuck it up.
No.
So the films I just mentioned, oh my goodness, it's one after another, nonstop. And some of these things are in development. They're in John Carter of Mars.
Yeah.
So
we finished that.
You did finish
It's
that.
It's Pixar's first half live action and animated film.
And your part is the live action part.
I'm in the live action, although I'm very animated doing my live action.
I see what you're saying.
Great. It was based on a novel by Edgar Rice Burroughs before he wrote Tarzan, and it's spectacular in the extreme sense of the word. It goes to Mars, and then it's in Civil War America. It's really wild with all these creatures and things, and there's battles.
Right, because your character is
like,
of the Civil War era.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's fun.
A lot of blue screen. I think Lucas is involved in the production, is he not?
George Lucas is producing Red Tails.
Red Tails, that's the other one.
Which is the Tuskegee Airmen story.
Right.
Yeah, which is terrific. And I don't know exactly. There's a lot of ILM is going to take care of that and do a lot of Industrial Light and Magic, a lot of computerized graphics and things like that.
You have huge fans here, and we are absolutely thrilled beyond belief for all of it.
Sounds like you're wrapping up.
No, I wanted to let you know we have only one more hour to do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just kind of a heads up.
Okay.
Do you believe that we're an hour 56 into it?
Are we really?
Just under 2 hours.
Oh my God, that's wild. It flew by.
I believe we were in the moment, sir.
Yeah.
I can't thank you enough.
Oh, it was a blast.
Honestly.
I enjoyed it.
We are riveted to see how the rest of this unfolds.
Yeah.
Unbelievable congratulations on this third Emmy.
Thank you.
Just give me a little bit of the moment before your name is said this third time around. All of the, well, I've already got 2, this is ridiculous, it couldn't possibly, oh God, they did say my name.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And then you kiss your wife, and my daughter is always with us, and we kiss. And once again, you start walking up the stairs, and before you know it, I'm already standing in front of Edie Falco, and she's handing it. I thought, what the time compression.
How did I get up here?
It was, and you turn and face, and there's 4,000 people in the auditorium, and there's 15 million or something watching on television, and you go. Yeah. And you just hope that you can construct a sentence that makes sense, that you can.
Are you comfortable putting something together beforehand?
I don't write a speech.
Right.
But I do think about what it is I would like to say if I were in that position.
If you have the wherewithal at the time.
But there are wild thoughts that come into your mind. Like last year, I remember all of a sudden I thought of Lee Trevino being struck by lightning, and I just said it.
What? Of course you did. What?
Yeah. Yeah.
This reminds me of when Lee Trevino got struck by lightning.
Yeah. Because Lee Trevino, this is a true story.
Yeah.
He was struck by lightning twice on the golf course.
I do remember
and
that.
And it was like, this was the second time for me, and I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. But then the other time, it's like, what what did I have for lunch? As you're walking up, and you go, no, get out! I don't want that.
There's no room for you in here.
You know, exactly. And yet it's like, oh, that I know her. Oh no, think, concentrate, focus, and you just can't believe it.
Yeah.
And even when I'm reenacting it, I still feel a little anxiety because it's that kind of hand-wringing, kind of explosive
surreal.
thing. Yeah, wow.
Wow, congratulations, honest to God. You know what's left? It's called the Larry King game.
Oh.
That's your camera, should you decide to participate or go the Jane Campion route. I'm going to buy you a little bit of time.
All right.
With one last question from the Facebook folk. This one from Rob Lichter. I'm assuming that's how you pronounce that. Bryan seems to do a lot of kid-friendly work. Upcoming Pixar film, Power Rangers, the Kid Smart that you mentioned, alongside his darker roles, Breaking Bad, Family Guy. Oh, we didn't even brush on that one. Is this a conscious decision or just an organic collection of roles offered to him? Is it just about, these are great scripts, this is great opportunities, or is it, boy, I like to mix it up?
I think it's both.
Yeah.
I think you know, I mean, as a human being, you don't, you know, the one thing about some comics is that they're always on. I can't take that.
Yeah.
Everywhere, 24/7, and it's like, please give it a rest. You don't have to perform for me, you know. I don't know anyone who really wants to have that kind of energy. I mean, you want to be able to. There's sometimes you want to be sincere and serious, or you want to be sad or funny or happy or joy, and it's the same thing in acting roles. I don't want to do just one kind of thing, so I look for a variety of things. And now and that's why Saturday Night Live is so great, because I've been doing a lot of dramas lately, and it's now I need to swing back and do some more comedies so that people will go, oh, that's right, he does comedy too. That's right, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting, though, because that was the remarkable thing I always felt about this career opportunity that Breaking Bad became, but also that trajectory we talked about, to be so known, and certainly you face that with the AMC folk. Well, no, he's the cartoon dad. He's crazy and silly. He couldn't possibly be dying on camera. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
To get to the point where, you know, he's funny. Your agent's saying,
yeah,
you know, he can be funny.
Yeah.
How remarkable is that, though? Honestly, awards and everything else aside, in terms of here's all that I can do. Now, literally coming full circle in such a short period of time.
It's crazy.
Of having to convince people that you can be funny too.
Well, you know what the answer is. I know you know that because of the irony of it. Is like, you know, sometimes if you're very successful in something, it's a double-edged sword. You then have to try to live that down for a number of years. And so the idea of going from a comedy, a very silly comedy, family comedy, to doing a very dark drama is not an opportunity that a lot of people get. And so I am fully aware of the opportunity that was handed to me, and I'm so grateful for it.
Oh, I'm pretty thrilled that you acknowledge at the outset how being present during this time is crucial to you, in terms of enjoying every square inch of these experience and opportunity.
You know, there was an old saying. It was a Chinese proverb that said, "May you reach success and good fortune early on in life," and it was meant as a curse. Is that if you do, you won't be able to appreciate what you have, and you'll crash and burn.
Holy crap.
So if you wanted to put a curse on someone, I hope you have success early in life.
Early in life.
Yeah. And I worked as an actor for many, many years, but there wasn't, not until Malcolm in the Middle did it kind of just explode then. And I was already in my 40s.
Right.
And so there's no way that I can't appreciate it. I mean, this is a wild ride. It's like a crazy, crazy ride.
That's the other thing we didn't even touch on, actually, I just realized, was the pretty brief period of time between Malcolm wrapping up and Breaking Bad starting. It wasn't much more than a year.
A year, yeah.
Which is truly remarkable. So it wasn't just that you were known for being a silly dad.
Yeah.
It was yesterday.
Yeah. It was
ridiculously
like a year and a half or something like that before.
Right.
Yeah.
Hard not to take Heisenberg home. Great that your family's not there. but when it's a particularly heavy day's work of that character, the little I've gotten to know of your work ethic, our friend Elaine on the outside of the studio, I remember I was commenting the first time you guys met about that wildly, if not insanely, pivotal scene when he shaves his head in the mirror. How does that character not come home with you back to the hotel?
I have a ritual that I do when I'm done with the day. I go into the makeup hair trailer and I get 2 very hot towels with some, scented, or something, eucalyptus or something on it, and I take the makeup remover and I do my whole head and face and I drape these hot towels like they would do in a barber shop, and I wrap it and I just sit there for a while and it just takes it all off, and I just wipe it off and leave it, and then take those clothes off and leave that, because I wouldn't want to take Walter White home with me. I don't know about you. He's not a guy that I'd like to live with, and so I live with him during the daytime, and then I leave him there and go become Bryan again.
Yeah.
Because I have to. I want to,
Well, we celebrate that. We honestly do. Those of us that love your work and love what's happening for you and your family in terms of this important opportunity.
Thanks, man.
Honestly.
Thank you.
It almost stops me from forcing you to do a Larry King. Not quite.
That's right. The Larry King, you said you were going to give me a moment, but you asked me another question.
Yeah.
All right.
I gave you the brief version beforehand. We didn't actually offer up one of the viewers' versions, which we normally do. So sorry about that. But you're on your own. That's your camera. When you're ready, please begin.
Larry King here. Sean, it's my birthday. When I come home, fire up the defibrillator. It's goodie time. Keokuk, Iowa, you're on the phone.
That's a first for Keokuk. Oh, I love it. No more calls, pencils down. We have a winner.
Oh.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, man.
Honestly.
Great to see you.
Please sit there uncomfortably for the next 90 seconds while I wrap things up.
I shall.
Into this camera here. I want to thank everyone for all the emails and the tweets and the everythings, sharing your support and excitement for this particular show. I didn't want to go on about it too much earlier. There was quite the outpouring of questions and tweet files. We're sorry we didn't get to all of them. And yes, you were right. This was a huge get for us, and we are wildly grateful and aware. We have a crew, as I've mentioned a few times, on the outside of the studio wall. They are numbered in 4 or 5. It's growing by the second. And often I wonder during the show what they've been up to, in this case for the last 2 hours, 6 minutes, and 23 seconds. So now I will turn the camera on out there to see what the hell's been going on. Oh, looks like someone's doing a little cooking, perhaps. Wait a second. Not regular cooking, a very specific kind of cooking. That's a different cooking altogether. Wait a second, it seems a bit shady. So that's my director. Why would he be? Emily, one of my producers. Wait a minute. What are they buying? What was being cooked? What is it? It's a.
Turds.
It's a cookie.
Oh, he's eating a turd. Oh, God.
Good cookies.
My crew cooks turds. No, that's not acceptable. I understand the idea of my crew eating shit. It happens every week. No, actually, Jamie caters a fine show every week, and everyone is.
It's underappreciated.
Everyone, it is under.
All I do is get complaints. No, I won't eat that.
I want to eat that.
Can't eat that.
All right, honey. Therapy will start in a second. All right. Well, thank you, crew, for working so hard on that. I think Elaine last night at supper said she might have had a hand in the creation of that particular crew gag. So 3 cheers to her effort on that. Next week, as I said, Fred Willard, the whole list and calendar we're booked up on through Thanksgiving and beyond. So check, and those of you joining us after the fact, check us out live sometime on a Sunday afternoon, should you be of mine. We'll see you next week with Fred Willard. And I'm very excited to say, until then, get out of my face.